Hello and welcome back to Mawazo. Sasa John,
Poa sana,
how have you been?
I'm well. Here we are.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good place to be.
I'm glad you like it here.
Being
That's
with
why
you
you're
actually.
back. I'm a fun person to be around.
Oh yeah, in every aspect. Shauri yako wewe ukifikiria vibaya.
Too bad. Do we care?
No, not really. You know, these are the best. Okay, surely. You know, when you're talking about the most natural thing, because when I think about sex, I see, sometimes I visualize as if it's God's mind. You know, the handcraft of God, the skills of God. This is the best game that God created.
Yes.
There is no,
Yes.
regardless, you may enjoy football, you may enjoy learning, you may enjoy what, but this is the best game. And you know, all these other games, akina football, akina chess, this is man creation. But when it comes to sex,
God is perfection.
well, this is crafting of God, the crafting of God, and how He crafted it. It's one of the best thing ever. How you if you start thinking about how even your system is made, is it a sexual system? You know, if you look at your sexual system from the brain all the way going down, if you look at your, you know, your beautiful twins, and then you go down there to that flower, the way it has 4 flower petals. How did God come up with 4 flower petals anyway?
Wow.
4 flower petals, and then it has this beautiful tongue peeping there. This tongue has a hood. You know, it has a hood. Sometimes I tend to think the reason why it has a hood is because so that you don't stimulate yourself as you're walking.
Can you imagine?
You know,
Imagine me sitting here and then I'm going into shock.
Oh, you're in a matatu and then it is on an uneven road.
Mtu akikalia nduthi. Anyway, we digress as usual. My name is Mombi Wanjiro. Welcome back to Mawazo. Here we are trashing taboos, claiming our sexy and owning it. With me is the infamous John Wagatwa joining me today. John, what are we talking about today? What have you prepared for Mawazo today?
It's a topic that most people really feel, I don't know how they feel about it, but most of the men, they don't want to talk about it. Because I don't know, once on men, I don't know where it really touches them. And as I said, sex is a great game that God created.
Yes.
And so when you're affected, you tend to realize that it affects the whole of your life.
Yes.
So today we want to talk about libido, the issue of libido.
Yeah.
Because most people, as they're talking about sex, when it does not work out, actually there's a question I ask. Funny enough, when you might be having a headache, you might be having cancer, unakuta mtu anaenda, for those who are believers, they even get a seed. They take it to the church. That I've planted this seed so that I may be cured of this issue. Now, I usually ask a question. When you're having an issue with libido, have you ever either prayed about it, gone to the pastor, hata kama ni ile uwekelewa ya mikono, lakini ikuwe ni ile ya unsaid, the unsaid prayers. Have you ever planted a seed for it? It means that most people don't take seriously about the issue of libido. You find that someone has the issue, but they are hiding it. Whereas there are so many methods. Actually, there are so many causes, which are easy to sort. There are so many methods that you can sort with that are not even, they do not even involve you going to a doctor, whereby you have to go to talk to a doctor and tell them, no, there's some of the things that you can do at home and you sort your issue. And most of the time, people tend to think libido is an issue for men. No.
As contrary to popular assumption or popular knowledge, libido affects both men. Low libido, that is, affects both men and women. And for those who may not know what libido is just in simple terms, appetite for sex. Sexual intercourse, any sexual kind of sexual engagement. You don't feel like it, you're disgusted by it, you no longer want it as much as you wanted it, you no longer want it as much as you wanted it. It could be that, yes, you're having sex, but you do not desire it as often or as much as you wanted it. You just want it ile tu haraka and then it's done. And the issue affects both men and women, and for very many different reasons. And one thing I know for sure, women usually talk. Amongst ourselves we talk. But I want to say, like you said, most men don't want to talk about it or even address it or even acknowledge that they are having that's an issue. Yeah. It's an issue, or rather, let's call it a condition. Like any other condition you may suffer from that you may need to seek help for. It's nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah.
Even you telling me you have low libido is nothing for me to laugh about. It's nothing for you as a man to be ashamed of. If you cannot talk to your partner, who else are you going to tell about this? Because it is only your partner who would know whether or not you have low libido. For me as a man and for you, for me as a woman and for you as a man.
And you know, when you say it to your partner, it saves you a lot of trouble. Because naturally, because when we don't talk, what happens to the other person is that they start filling in the gaps.
Yes.
And most probably, the first thing that will come in the mind is that now you're cheating.
You're satisfied elsewhere. Yeah. That's why it doesn't bother you. You don't even desire me anymore. Yeah. And you know, women, we are talented and well gifted by God. God gave us a trampoline that we know how to jump into conclusions like professionals.
And we create a big, you know.
We create something out of nothing. We work magic and miracles.
Yes.
We create nothing, absolutely nothing out of something. This man could be there. He is having low libido. He's wondering, okay, well, how am I supposed to say this? Will she think that I'm less of a man? And that is why I said, remember, I said, you cannot be intimate if you're not willing to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And for you to be able to be vulnerable, you have to create, for your partner to be able to be vulnerable, you have to create a safe space for your partner to be able to come and tell you, whether they are male or female, whether they are dominant or submissive. You have to create when we talk about ambience, creating the environment for a romantic or sexual sense.
Whereby this person can come and say, according to what I'm feeling, I'm feeling like I don't desire it. You're there, you're waiting for sex, and then this person is like, no, the person is having low libido. It is not even part of his life right now. He's not thinking about it. Whereas you're into it at that particular moment.
Yeah.
So when you create that space, the person will come and tell you,
and then communication is very easy. Whether you're talking about sex, whether you're talking about money, whether you're talking about projects in your relationship, it's so much easier for someone to come and tell you something outrightly and straightforward. Yeah. And it's very sad and wrong that most of us know our partners have issues when the issues have reached the extreme. They come and tell us as a last resort. For example, you find someone has taken so many loans. Amechukua loans. Put your house as the put your parents, put your land, put your children's school fees. I may spend all that money. When auctioneers come, you're being kicked out of your house. That's when the wife or the husband is realizing, wow, we owe all these people all this money. Don't let your partner be a last resort. And you as a person, let your partner know that this is a safe space. You can come and tell me anything, whether you're in trouble, whether you're thinking about quitting your job, whether you're frustrated by your boss or life in general, or your family or whatever. This is a safe space. And that is your partner should have meddling right into your life. Whatever it is that you choose to do with your life, be it in your career, be it with your children, be it in your personal private life with your family and all, especially family, in-laws. In-laws can really come and mess your relationship. So you need to have meddling rights. I have meddling rights in my person's relationship, and job and all that. Their entire life, I have meddling rights, and vice versa. That way, they'll feel safe coming to me, and I'll always feel safe meddling in their business and helping them whereby you can help as a partner, because you are a trustee, you are the first trustee. Now, the first thing that I know that can bring low libido, kwanza in women, is resentment. Whereby this person is always left hanging. That your wife, you leave her, she's almost somewhere, she's like, when she's almost coming and then she's never coming. She's always almost coming.
Yes. That's a when she's left in that state several times, repeatedly. It's like this week.
You will have a very bitter wife.
Yes.
Very bitter wife and very, very spiteful wife.
And then what happens with that woman is that wherever you want her or wherever you want your partner, she's like, the mind, because the mind has a way of protecting itself from harm, of protecting us from harm. Immediately it jumps into conclusion.
He won't do much,
So with that, it it creates an atmosphere whereby, because they already have resentment towards you, naturally they're not even willing to do it. With them, even their body, even though they might be willing, but their body itself is like, this person will leave me hanging. So what will happen is that this particular person will have low libido naturally, because they don't even want it. Why should I go take my body whereby I'll be left suffering? Why should I take it?
Also, I think when you talk on that, it reminds me of when we said monotony and what was the other one? Monotony and lack of spontaneity.
Yes.
You do the same thing over and over again in the same room, in the same position for 5 seconds as usual. It's that. Have I targeted you?
No, it is because
so frustrating.
It is someone who has said that some few minutes ago, as we were discussing, someone said that you give it like the sprint type.
Yeah.
You're always on a sprint.
Yeah.
So the person will always have low libido. Why? Yeah. Because when you come on them, it's low libido. Yeah. There is you don't create an atmosphere whereby they are like, I don't know what he's going to do to me next. Yeah. Because when you create that atmosphere, it means that you are creating anticipation. And anticipation gives you, actually that is one of the solutions of low libido. Yeah. If you give spontaneity, as well as you create, because spontaneity will create anticipation. What he's going to do. Well, because you are always creative. Because when it comes to sex, most of the thing that people don't understand is that sex can be classified as an art. Yeah. Sex is not a science. Yes, it has science aspect of it. Yeah. Sex has mathematics aspect of it. But with me, I classify it as an art. Yeah. What about an art? An art, the major thing that is required is just skills. Yeah. Because if today we are told, we give someone, for example, if we give our director to draw you, they give me a pencil to draw you, everyone will draw you according to the skills that are in their mind. Just like children, tell them to draw. They will draw the same person, but their
perception is different.
Yes. Yeah. They will draw maybe one hand very big. Why? Because that hand carries the basket that carries fruits, and this child loves fruits. Maybe that child loves your hair, so you find that she will draw very long hair, because there is that aspect of art in sex. So the other thing on libido is medication. And Kenyans, we have a way, and most of us, we love over-the-counter medication. Whereas we don't know some of the side effects of these things, and then you're left there saying, unajua sijui ni nini kwenye zilipotelea.
And most of us, you're given a package with your medicine inside, and almost always those packages have those leaflets inside that gives you the list of ingredients, instructions, and contraindications of that medication.
But how many bother to
How many read? How many read? And then just go and buy. You say, okay, I have a headache. Anyone and everyone will tell you what to take. You go and buy it and you take it, and you don't even bother to find out.
And then tomorrow you say, I have another headache, and then they tell you, ile nilikwambia kukusaidia.
There's another one.
There's another one that is called so and so. And then you go and buy. Lakini hiyo inakuwa expensive kidogo, tembe moja inauzwa 20 bob. Yeah. So you go and buy, but hiyo inakuwa more better. What are the contrary? And that is why you find people having low libido. They don't know where it is coming from. That is another thing. Then the other thing that I come to realize is diet. For example, do you know that food that have a lot of sulfur can make a lady smell? She's very clean. She's a very clean lady.
Hygienically clean.
Yes. But if tomorrow she's going, I always advise ladies, if tomorrow you're going on a date,
don't eat sulfur.
Don't eat sulfur, food that have a lot of sulfur. And if you eat, at least add some lemon. Come on, if fish, you're eating fish today and tomorrow you have a date. That fish, add some lemon on top of it. It neutralizes the sulfur content. Fish is very nutritive, but the sulfur content in it will make you smell. Same case with broccoli.
I think it's very, very for someone like me who loves seafood, I can say that for sure seafood is, first of all, seafood is an aphrodisiac.
Yes.
Seafood, if you want to turn your woman on, seafood is an aphrodisiac.
Starting with the oyster.
Oysters, lobsters, shrimp, hizo zote.
Yes.
Na pweza. Pweza is a calamari. What is it called? Director, unajua pweza? Octopus. Yes. Thank you, director. Octopus. Yeah. Pweza, supu ya pweza. You see, huko kwetu watu wanasifu sana supu ya pweza. Yeah. For sure. If you serve your guy that supu ya pweza, mchuzi wa pweza. My friend, you'll come and testify. So if you know for sure, and also when you wash your hands, you know, women, we tend to touch ourselves so many times.
Yeah.
When you go to the bathroom, you have to wipe every time, and you have to touch it. So if you go and you eat fish, as you're saying, ikona lemon deal, and that's why you find that when you go to a restaurant and you order for fish, there are always lemon wedges there.
Yeah.
When they bring you water, in most restaurants, to wash your hands, there's always a slice of lemon in your water. Why? Because lemon neutralizes the smell from your hands.
Yes.
So, if you do not know, now you know. What he's saying is true. Lemon will neutralize not only the smell down there, but also on your hands.
Yes, that is very true. So you really need to solve some, and you know, even on libido, raw libido, you can solve it with a diet.
Yes.
Just like you have a diet that can affect you, also you have a diet that can solve. Just as I've said, choose a pesa. And you don't need a lot of money. You find someone going over the counter to buy the blue pills. We'll not mention names. To buy the blue pills and other drugs over the counter just because you felt like you're a bit low. And maybe someone, and then the other person wants just to prove, I'm good. Yeah. My friend, if you want to have the highest libido in the world, solve it with food. If some of the things that you take your nuts in the morning, you take whatever you take, it has hata kama nizo simsim. Is it mkovero? You know, people don't know what does mkovero have in it. It just has ginseng. And ginseng is one way of, actually it is classified as traditional method of solving low libido. Yeah. And ginseng is what is there in mkovero. That is the ingredients that helps you sexually. Yeah. And you know, mkovero also helps you in your mouth. And
mkovero is not only for men. I really want to say that, because ginseng for women's libido is known in Asia, especially Asian countries. Yes. Ginseng is very, very commonly used to cure female libido issues. Yeah. Because you find that most of these things, we assume that it's a man's problem, and therefore the solution is for the man. When we talk about diet, we all eat.
Yes.
What you eat for yourself, I could also eat for myself, or there's something that is there for me to eat. If I cannot eat sulfur, what am I supposed to eat? Go and figure it out. When I eat this fish, what else can I take that will now neutralize that smell?
Yes.
Because I cannot stop eating fish. I love fish, and furthermore, fish is very nutritious.
Yes.
So ginseng, ukiona men are chewing that kijiti mkovero, women should also do it.
And there are so many. So there's so many methods of solving some of these issues. Is it fear that you have? Is it anxiety? And this is where now therapy comes in. You look for a therapist, whereby if you have issues with the anxiety, because there's some people who are suffering low libido because of anxiety. Whenever they are able to put the girl on the box, tunasema kumuingiza box. Amefika hiyo process yote, lakini akifikiria kuenda kuteremsha vizuri na meno.
I think also
anxiety,
social pressure of and expectations that the society has falsely made us believe in, that, oh, I should do this and that. If I don't do this, then I'm not a pro, or she'll think of me a certain way, or he'll think of me a certain way. I think that is a lie, because like we said, every man and woman is very different.
Oh yeah.
Whatever expectation you think they have, they don't, unless they have told you themselves.
Yes.
If you're saying, oh, my grandmother told me, oh, my best friend told me, oh, my uncle told me, keep it to yourself.
That was your uncle. And how old is your grandmother?
And first of all, how does your uncle know about a woman? What does he know about a woman's body? Apart from the women he has been with.
Of course.
Of which all those women were very different.
And even if you look even at the generation gap, sometimes I wonder, people, when someone is talking about their grandmother, I really wonder, because you're talking about your grandmother, but how many generations is your grandmother? Already you are the third generation from your grandmother.
Yeah. So much has changed.
So much has really changed.
So much has changed, including how our bodies have evolved. You know, human beings, like any other animals, we adapt to our environment.
Yeah, that's true.
So your body has learned to adapt to the current environment, even sexually. Whatever used to happen to your grandmother cannot happen to you today. May not happen to you because you're not in that environment. She adapted to her environment at that time. Do not ever let other men tell you what to do with your woman, because they are not women, number one. Number two, they have not been with your woman.
Yeah.
She did not call them for a meeting and tell them, okay, I'm going to marry John tomorrow. So this is what you should give him as my notes.
And you know also, even if they were with your woman, even if they were with her yesterday,
they can't do it the same way you want.
They cannot do it the same way I will do it. Because hata tukiongea tu kweli hata diki hazitoshani. Yangu inatoshana na yake.
No.
Itoshani.
Okay, I don't know.
The way they
Okay, but dicks are not the same.
Yeah, even the way they are created by God, the shape and everything, they're not the same. Even by way of touching, it's not the same way. Even if it is the same woman, but even my way of touching, my way of doing my foreplay is not the same. So if you have issues with anxiety, issues with foreplay, so the best thing that you can do is you need to go look for a therapist, because sometimes you find someone is suffering from low libido because yeye mwenyewe ndiye anajifanya underperform. Na ki underperform, then you know, just as I told you about the mind, so because you don't want to be embarrassed, like you felt like you embarrassed yourself, so that anxiety creates a cocoon in your mind to protect you. So what will happen is you will not want to do it again, so that you don't embarrass you. So you end up having low libido.
Low libido. I mean, anxiety can also come from sexual trauma. Which is something very common, and I'm happy that now people are really talking about it, and people are not shy to come forward and say, yes, I went through sexual trauma. Sexual trauma it's not just rape, the act of rape. There's so many other ways you could be sexually traumatized. You could have people who've gone through FGM. Some men have gone through wrongful circumcision, like being forced. Someone asked me inbox, is it wrong to go and take someone and forcefully force them? That is sexual harassment, by the way.
Why would
force them to get circumcised? If someone is not circumcised, they have no issue with it themselves. Why does it bother you? Is it on your forehead? What is wrong? No, I don't understand. No, actually, it angers me. No, because why does it bother you? It's on your body, right?
Yeah.
It does not itch me. It does not bother me. Oh, it bothers women. Which women? Are you a woman?
What you had said is social.
Yes, that social thing. That
social thing.
Please, there are so many things as Africans we need to unlearn. We really need to unlearn and do our. And that's why we say we trash taboos, because some of those beliefs we were taught by people who are not as knowledgeable as we are, as literate as we are. You need to come to a point where what bothers you should only be what is happening to your body. If your partner leaves you, sasa those exes. It is no longer your concern. What they do with your body, how they do it, with whom they do it, that is their business.
It is their life.
So stop saying, oh, since I left John, he's a womanizer. Leave him. So what? It's not your body.
He decided he has a choice.
Exactly.
He has his own
And those
mind.
are the things that sexually you can be psychologically traumatized.
Yes.
Because of the things people are saying about you. Oh, Mombi is that, this and that. Please. You have sex with someone when you
ukimwona tu ako na simu nzuri sana hivyo, wote nikwambia msichana kanatoshana hivi kakakucha sijui nani alimuuma, ni kama kalienda na panya.
If the person they are with is not saying anything about, and actually even the person I'm with can say whatever they want, it is their opinion, but it does not bother me. So as I was saying, psychologically you can be traumatized in the things people say. We have a culture of slut shaming. Before a child even knows what sex and sexuality is, you start slut shaming them. For example, you have had aunties or uncles say, oh, since her breasts formed, she has started feeling like she's a woman. Now that is slut shaming and body shaming. That culture makes a woman grow up feeling, you find that most women in their teenage years, they grow with hunchbacks. Because now her breasts have started forming. She has not even realized it herself because she's a child. For her, it's just things are just happening. You wake up one day, you don't have. The next day you wake up, you have them. Actually,
you realize that what happens is that they start even wearing big
clothes, baggy clothes.
And
that's a very bad. If it's a boy, their voice starts breaking. They start getting acne. So many things happen when a child is developing and when their body is forming. That we have come up with a culture of body shaming and slut shaming, that we grow with shame.
And you see now, when you shame someone, it might affect them to a point whereby they start now suffering from low libido. And that is a person now who will have to come and sit down with a therapist, because some of them, they have to be built up. Some of them, you have to build that self-worth again. You have to build the self-esteem again, so that when you mold them again, now also the other things of their body, they can work. And because when sex starts from the mind, so psychologically, most people don't know what psychology is. Psychology is two words. That word on itself, it is logo. It is the psycho, that is the mind, and there's logo, life. So when the mind is affected, even our lives will be affected.
And can you emphasize on how much we need to normalize therapy? A therapist is a doctor. Let's first establish that.
Yes.
He's a physician in his own right. One thing we need to do, we have grown knowing that mental issues ni wenda wazimu wenye wanaokota makaratasi kwa barabara, they walk around naked. We need to understand, so many people, have you realized how many people are killing each other in relationships?
So many
Have you realized how many people are committing suicide?
So many
because
people.
of frustration in relationship and families.
Yes.
Have you realized how many people are sexually frustrated to a point of suicide and murder?
Yeah.
And killing even
there
their
so
children,
many
for God's
people
sake.
every day.
If you do not normalize therapy, and therapy is good, the same way you go to a dentist to look at your aching tooth. Your mental health is it's more important than any other part of your body, because without that you cannot even function.
The other lady I was talking to the other day, and then she was like, she just came to a point of realizing that the couple she has always been admiring, they go for therapy. Like, to her, that one was so astonishing. Like, you know what, John, I want to tell you that if there's this couple, nataka kuja session moja, nikamuuliza ya nini, just to talk to me. I just want to talk. Specifically, do you have a specific need? No, I just want to talk. Why are you curious? Like, you seem you really want to come to counseling. No, you know what, John? The couple that I've really been admiring for all this life, I've realized that they always have 3 mandatory sessions per year.
Yeah.
Regardless of other issues, but they have 3 mandatory sessions. They have to go for 3 sessions.
Also, people also have to realize in that case that therapy for couples is not so that they don't separate.
Yeah.
No, it's so that they are able to function. Because what you need is a neutral voice, and sometimes it's not even that neutral voice. Sometimes mental issues, correct me if I'm wrong, because you're the professional therapist here, mental issues always come up or we implode due to mental issues, because mental issues usually are things we think. You don't say them.
Yeah.
It eats you on the inside. But when you go and sit down with a therapist, sometimes the therapist does not even say anything. You speaking out those things,
you have someone.
You have a different perspective and comprehension of what is going on inside of you, because you have outspoken it.
You know, one of the skill of counselors, and I don't know why we are talking about counselors. One of the skill, we were to talk about libido. You know, one of the skill of the counselor is repetition.
Yes.
Mumbi, you will say something to me in the session room, and I'll tell you, repeat again.
Yes.
Can you repeat what you have said? And you repeat exactly. Do you know what I want you to do? I want you to hear yourself.
Yes. And understand it.
You know, sometimes we speak, but are we really hearing ourselves? When you speak it out, such as also as libido, when you speak it out, you start realizing, oh, so I wasn't like that. Because even your partner will change and tell you, yeah, I've noticed something is not right. So what could be the problem? And you might realize it is something that you can solve within yourself.
Yeah, just by yourself. That's
because maybe if it is stress at work, is it really affecting your mind to an extent you have low libido? What can your partner do that will help you to reduce stress even at work? And at home, you're good. Because all these things, they are life and they are surrounding us. So you must look at exactly what is affecting your libido today. And whatever is affecting your libido, it is not a must you look for those heavy, you know what, wengine wanafikiria ni those heavy solutions ziko huko juu.
Or you need to see how many people you need to go and take all traditional medicine. First of all, target and establish what your problem is, and then target treatment towards it. Treatment does not necessarily mean medication or therapy or diet. It could be one or the other or all together.
Yes.
Yeah. So you just know what your problem is, because we cannot sit here and tell you, okay, John, as an audience of Mawazo, I think your low libido is due to this and that. We would not know, because we have not come and established, and we are not allowed or even qualified to tell you what it is.
you just have to do analysis. Even when you go to a doctor, they will have to do some analysis. Unaumwa na kichwa, ilianza wapi, ilianza lini, so that you can, at the end of it all, you can like comprehensively look at all the issues that have been brought up as the signs and symptoms, and then now you can be able to establish and pinpoint this is the issue, and then from there you can now work towards solving it. Because low libido is something that no one should be ashamed of. No one should be ashamed of. Ikiwa unakaa hivi unasikia utamani, kuna sababu. Ikiwa ni na sijui kwa nini mtu asitamani hiki tena ni kwa nini.
Emphasize also that low libido is not that I didn't want sex last night, but any other night I want. This is a continuous thing. It has happened over a period of time that you realize, now it's an issue.
Whereby
so don't feel like, oh, because yesterday I didn't feel like you said, women have a cycle. Sometimes they want it so much, sometimes they want it a different way. So please just know that low libido is a condition that has affected you for a period of time.
You really because for example, as you have said it, most people don't understand that women, and I tell men, they need to understand their women, because once you understand your partner, you will know whether it is the cycle or whether it is the low libido. And thank you for mentioning that, because cycle inakujaga tu pengine siku 3 kwa ama siku 4, because if she has 28 days, it is divided into 4 times. So kuna ile 2 time hata ukimguza tu hivi ameshawaka. Kuna ile time ukimguza lazima upembeleza, lazima upepeta, ni kama jiko unapepeta ndio arudi awake. So when you realize that there is that cycle, now you'll be able to differentiate now that for the 3 months huyu hata ukipepeta aje haiwaki. Hakuna tile siku. So you realize now, now this is low libido, and you can be able to sort it. And people need to talk. For low libido, you need to talk.
You need to talk. Communication in all intimate relationships or any kind of relationship, communication is key. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been Mawazo. My name is Mombi Wanjiro. See you next time.
This is John Wagatua, and remember to subscribe. Unaiona tu hapa hivi chini ya red, just subscribe. Keep it here. We continue talking about